Okay, so the next part is Rhino. So now we're going to, before we do anything, we are going to think about dimensions. So, Rhino automatically opens up some random window. There are multiple ways to sort of adjust the unit scale. So, like many other modeling systems, the units are based on numbers, and they don't care if it's an inch or a centimeter or a millimeter. It is one, and you change the name, and it doesn't care. So the first thing you always do is confirm your units. So file, just a new document, we'll just show you what pops up, is this. So if you are modeling a small object, and that's like an object, not architecture, you will be in, like if you're modeling a couch maybe, or jewelry, it's clearly small objects. Small objects in meters is basically never used. The architecture comes in at large objects almost always. Again, metrically, we're probably going to do this in inches. As architects, we almost never model in feet because technically that would be feet and then always a division by 1/12, and then things get weird. So usually at the scale of architecture, you model in large objects, inches. As a caveat, which we will get to soon, when you are 3D printing, everything comes out as a millimeter. No exceptions. Because that's all the 3D printers think about are millimeters. And they care not for centimeters, nor inches, nor feet, nor any of these things. So units are important. You can modify it later. It comes with some confusing scaling mechanisms. So it's best to always think about the scale the second you open the document. So with this new document, I'm going to open the large object inches. The only difference between small and large objects is the amount of grid, and it has clipping planes that's associated with it, which is also very complex, so we won't get into it, but it's not really the most important thing. What is important is the units. Open. So let's say you have totally screwed up and you do not know what your units are. Isaac, can you not sleep in class? You just type units. And up will pop the document properties, and it is the units. Here you can adjust units again. So if you have modeled and modeled and modeled and it's totally wrong, but somehow the scale is appropriate, you can modify your units here. And we'll go over that later. So, yes.
Okay, that toolbar on the side that has like the rectangle and everything.
This one or this one?
The one right to the right of it.
This.
Yeah. What is that called? Because I don't have one.
Okay, so if this ever happens to you, and like this happens a lot, you go to Tools, Toolbar Layout, and you're like, what is this? Well, I want to restore defaults because this is a default toolbar and you should have it. So if you hit restore defaults and hit OK, and then it will say, okay, you need to restart Rhino. It even like deleted mine. So I'm going to close it and just restart it. See, it's updating my toolbars. Is it back? Happens all the time.
I thought it was called properties and I couldn't figure it out, but it's not.
Toolbar layout. Lots of stuff in there. This is a plugin that I need to get rid of. So we got it all. File. No. Save changes. No. Like I have no idea what that unit is, but it's probably large objects inches. So then the next thing is that we want to do now that we know that the units are absolutely correct is to import the Illustrator file, because that will be the basis for everything. File, import. So for me, mine's on the other side of my computer, so I have to go to the files all the way on the other side of my computer. I can do this. I think I can do it. Nope. Yeah. Oh no, maybe I can't do it. I was quite certain I could. Wow, okay. What is this one? Well, does anyone know if you can go to the other side? I just assumed you could. Really? You can definitely pull from the Mac to this side. Total bummer. Anyways, no big deal.
I'm able to, but I have to do it through a virtual machine.
Oh,
I don't know if you can. It's just
we'll just download it again and delete the crap in it. So let's hope that this AI file opens. So downloaded an AI file. File, import, downloads. Oh yeah, this is well organized. Yeah. There we go. Preserve units, 1 inch in PDF equals 1 Rhino unit. Who knows? It's wrong anyways. This sometimes is important though. So what is our Rhino unit right now? It's an inch. So this is another reason. This is another point where people totally get screwed up with units. So for us, currently, it just doesn't matter. Sometimes other people, it does matter. And it asks you if you want to load text. I've never done that, but there you go. You can do that sometimes. And right there at 0, 0 is our precious document, completely scaled inappropriately and with all the stuff that I deleted, but that's okay. So the first thing, if you can't see it, you've just lost it. So type zoom, all, and then extents, and everything will pop up. So the first thing I'm going to do is like go in here and delete this nonsense. So you can see now that the crazy groups are gone. Like everything is how it is. But what concerns me, it's fine. And you can see that like your line weights aren't importing. So this is 10 feet, 20 feet, 30 feet, 40 feet. I remember that from the last image, but it's kind of important just to remember that. I guess that would have been useful to import the text so that I would have remembered. Again, just deleting everything again. I'll just select these manually. So all I need are these things. So I'm going to save, of course. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is scale this. So right now, I know that this line is supposed to be 10 feet. And when I scale it, this will scale with it. So the first thing I'm going to do is draw a line that is 10 feet long. So remember, we are in inches. However, it will take a foot input as long as you type it. So I'm going to type line, enter, start a line. Honestly, it doesn't matter because you click anywhere. And so some of you guys, of course, already know this, but if you ever want your line to go straight to the side, you can hold shift and it will only move in the orthogonal. But if you are always drawing only perpendicular or straight, then click on your ortho and type 10 feet, enter. The command is not complete yet. When you hit enter, you have to enter again. What? Oh, I know. You have to click it again. So click 10 feet, enter, and then click, not enter. So you draw a line, that's 10 feet. I want this single line to be 10 feet long. Oops, this is 10 inches, I think. So let's say I'm pretty sure I did this wrong. This is 10 inches because of the grid, but I'm just going to check. I'm going to type DI, distance. And that's how you test the length. Right now it is 10 inches, so I didn't hit the feet symbol. So again, line, 10 feet, right here, 10 feet. I type the little foot, enter, and click. This one does not get scaled for now, so we move that out here. I'm going to select all of this and move this in line with this. And now I'm going to scale it. Just type scale. Origin point will be here. First reference point is the end of the first line, and the second reference point is in line with this. So this is now to scale, and it looks much more robust as a drawing anyways. So one of the keys to sort of lining everything up all the time are O-snaps. I think when you just start Rhino, there is nothing turned on down in this pane. So ortho, you already know about. That keeps things going either perpendicular or parallel. Planar, I never mess with planar, but you can understand what that does. Gumball, if you're feeling like working with that. Smart track, I usually keep that on, and O-snap, I usually keep that on. This is O-snap. So when I want to say move this corner to exactly this point, the only way to do that is to zoom in. If you don't have the snaps on, is to zoom really in and try and get it to line up. And this is, I think, how they used to do it back in the day. But in reality, you don't have to do that. So for O-snap, all you have to do is grab your corner and you can snap it to this line. So it's a really important tool for precision modeling. So now that we have this scaled properly and we know that and we know how to line everything up, the next thing we're going to do is scale this tiny, currently tiny, side elevation. So between this, based on the plan, between this point and this point is 10 feet. So this point corresponds to these 2 points. So we're going to line this up. And this is when ortho is annoying me, so I'm going to turn it back off. This is the smart track. Do you see how I clicked on something and now I'm just pulling it up and it's remembering that trajectory? You can turn that off if it annoys you. Again, scale. Origin point is this guy. Reference point is this guy. And it's going all the way to here. While it's all selected, I'm going to just move it out of the way, and voila, done. So now you have a plan and a side elevation, and you can start modeling. So the only other thing I'm going to sort of show you is how to manipulate line weights, or like lines, so that you can create shapes in Rhino, but then I'm going to give you guys time to work on it, and we have to end class at 1:50 because I have a 2 o'clock meeting in the College of Design, which is like 1,000 miles away. But so the next thing we're going to do is just like a start at modeling this, and then you guys can finish it. So one of the problems that will arise is this guy right here. So first off, this is like right now currently in the plan view. To sort of work on it in an effective way, I really want to rotate it. So the best way to do that is to go in the top view, look at it from the side, which is sometimes not an easy feat to really understand what's going on, and then type rotate, and voila. And now you can see as a perspective, it's starting to come together quite nicely. But like clearly this is sort of a very bad version of a roof plan and a seat plan. It's just all the lines sort of thrown together. But you know, from the pictures you've seen so far, and I will throw a picture of Winterset in there for you. Uh-oh. No, it's not in here. So I'll put this picture up on the side box for reference, but as you can sort of see, it has this sort of plate system here. It's got some sort of roof that follows the line. It's got this wiggly little bench, and it has this sort of wall in the center. So this is, you know, our goal. So clearly we're going to have to do some planar surfacing, some extrusions, and probably for this, some flow along surface. The one thing that you guys probably don't know yet is that in order to do solid sort of extrusions, you have to have closed lines. So to test your sort of lines, so often you will not know that your lines are open. For example, this one I know personally is not closed. So if I type close curve, it says here, one curve closed by adding line segment. I couldn't have made a planar surface if it was open, and my extrusion would have had like holes in it. So this is an important thing. This one's super obvious that it's not closed, so same thing, just closing the curve, closing the curve. Sometimes if you have so many holes in your lines, it will just be like, I don't know what you want to do. And then you have to join them and then try and close it. So the key to this is just that you need to have closed lines. You can group things later in Rhino, but you can't use the lines individually, so I often will group them later. So I have used my O-snap to click in perspective some sort of alignment of this side elevation to the plan. That looks pretty good. Now I can grab this guy. I can extrude the curve. I can extrude it however I want, but what's probably best is to extrude it some sort of, again, this isn't a beautiful plan, but like that much. Oops. Shaded. Wonderful. It's not capped at all, so I'm just going to grab it and type cap. Beautiful. I'm going to extrude these guys. So what is this? Curve selected to extrude includes self-intersecting curves. This may produce undesirable results. Do you want to extrude curves? So this means your curves are crappy, and that happens all the time. If you draw them manually, if you import them from something else, this happens all the time. So you have two options. What I usually do is give it a go. This isn't for 3D printing. When you are 3D printing, that really matters. But for just images, this is fine. So I just say yes. Let's see what happens. I'll drag it all the way over here, make sure it's solid this time. And there you go. There's my beautiful bench. I know based on the picture that there is one plate here and there's one plate on the other side. So I now, I can do two things. I can be super precise and use mirror. So I type mirror and I start the middle mirror plane, and that's basically the center. This is going to be tougher because there's 1,000 lines, but now there's one over here. It's not exactly where I wanted it, so let's just move it. Click on this corner and let's move it towards, oh no, like that. Nope, still not right. So now I'm starting to have my final design. So there are a couple, I'm going to stop here and you guys have to figure out the rest on your precious own and ask questions. But I'm going to just go ahead and tell you some pro tips. There needs to be a wall in between here. You don't have to do a game, but it's just not wide open. You need to do a roof, and this roof is made of panels that are this wide. So for what it's worth, you have to figure out how to make wooden planks on this roof, a wall right here, and these are also supposed to be wooden, so go for that too. So I'm confident that you guys can figure it out. There are some Rhino experts in the class, so talk to your friends, and come to class with this complete, and then we will be working on Studio Max, so make sure you have access to that somehow, and then the assignment will be due on Tuesday. Okay? Huh? No, this is just have this completed for Thursday so we can use it in the next part of the assignment. Any questions? I'm making sure I stopped. So if you are here because you're interested in 3D printing, you can't do any of those things without learning this. I know it's benign, but in the grand scheme that I am often, as the architecture department, the 3D model fixer, we are walking before we run, because I don't want to fix any of your models. I want this to be perfect. Yes, it's going to be beautiful. So let me look. I'm looking at my list. Nope, that is it. Please just check that you have Cybox access. If you did not upload your drawings, please see me. And then, yeah, come to class with this ready so that we can start animating in 3D Max on Thursday.